Hello. I'm going to do another video on Max Stirner. This might be my last Max Stirner video, because I'm pretty Max Stirnered out. Wanna know why? I've read this entire book about Max Stirner. This book had a big chapter on him, and I read one of his pamphlets about him, and I read another book that had a chapter about him. So I've read a lot about him. I'm just more in out. I might make a second video though if this one's too long. I know you can make more videos that are more than 10 minutes long, but I don't know if you can make more than 15 minutes. So I'm going to start right off the bat real quick. Max Stirner. Yes. One of his main ideas is his total atheism. Imagine a throne called Throne of God. And imagine atheists telling God to get off, so God gets off. Well, he kind of disappears, poof. But then the atheists, like Feuerbach, put like society, government, love, and starts putting things on the throne of God, so making new gods. Now imagine a guy whose name's Stirner, who's trying to blow the throne up so nobody gets to be on the throne. So basically, he believes that nothing should be treated like a god. Not the state, not even liberty and freedom, which I'll explain later. He's still kind of libertarian-ish, although he's an anarchist of sorts, more like an individualist anarchist than anything else. But he's still very unusual. And listen, this video I wrote in my journal before making a video about, and I tell you, it's a very good idea. So yes, he rejects all absolutes. He thinks everything sort of relative. Mainly, he thinks that the only thing he knows of is his unique ego, which doesn't even make that into an absolute. He believes in nihilistic egoism, but he doesn't make his own ego into an absolute godlike thing. He sees his life as something to be used up, so he's kind of hedonistic. But he also believes everyone should be allowed to grow and prosper as an individual, so to speak. What's interesting is his relationship to existentialism. Basically, existentialists and Stirner both start in this nihilism, that nothing exists, that our lives are completely meaningless, that there's no meaning to our lives. Why not just kill ourselves, right? Well, the existentialists try to overcome nihilism. They try to reject nihilism. Usually the existential solution to nihilism is some kind of a passion. Like Kierkegaard, I love his name. Mean cemetery. His solution to nihilism was God. Basically, you have faith in God, and that faith is sort of a thing that brings you out of nihilism and gives you a place in the world. For Sartre, who later became a communist, this thing that people should be passionate about was the state and the community. For Bach, it was love. For Heidegger is some kind of like being, some kind of special form of being, and whatnot. But Stirner's idea is basically that they don't really prove that overcomes nihilism at all. In fact, it more comes off as just existentialism is terrified of what this idea of nihilism that they started their whole philosophy on. They're so terrified of it that they try to come up with some sort of solution to it that isn't really a solution. Like, it sounds cool, and you might be able to get it to kind of work, but it still doesn't overcome nihilism, and it's still sort of at the root of existentialism. But that's why Stirner is kind of an existentialist and kind of not, because his solution isn't some kind of overcoming of nihilism, but a sort of living within nihilism. Stirner sees himself as a creative nothingness, as if to him nothing truly exists, and nothing really is anything to him. Nothing has meaning outside of him. He sees himself as a creative nothing, which he uses to live by. So he doesn't really have any goals. It's very unusual. Oh yes, the libertarian stuff. when it comes to freedom and liberty, he doesn't believe in making liberty into some abstract goal to go for. Instead of liberty, he has this concept of ownness. Basically, it's like a self-ownership kind of thing, where you own yourself. So you're only free if you use that ownness of yourself to do productive things for yourself. He uses the example of if you're a slave and you're now free, you're no longer technically a slave. You're still just an emancipated slave. You go from a slave to emancipated slave until you use that ownness that you have to free yourself to become a self-creating, self-generating, productive person for yourself. That's how you become free, is you become a very individualistic, self-creating type person who starts to live for oneself and whatnot. So it takes freedom. Liberty has to be taken. So he says that liberty can't be made into an abstraction. It has to be something that you actively take and strive for. He also, one thing that separates him from other individualist anarchists is his view of property. He believes property is part of ownness. Basically, property is something that you take. Property exists because you can use your power and your abilities to keep other people from taking or in any way disrupting your property. And he also, another idea he has, which is very similar to Franz Oppenheimer, who I'll mention when I do a book review on this, is this idea of unions versus the state. When I say union, I don't mean like labor unions, I mean like social unions. That also comes with this union of egoists. Basically, a social union is a place where people voluntarily get together into a group for a self-interest, where the individual is not stamped upon, where each individual in the group gets to be self-interested and sort of allow their individuality to grow and become a mutual benefiting part of this union, to where everyone in the union gets to be an individual and things are good. But the state's different. The state isn't a voluntary union. The state isn't where I'm going to join this voluntarily and I'm going to bring out my self-interest and individuality. The state is more of you're going to join this no matter what, and we're going to stomp out your individuality, and you're going to make your ego submit. So he talks about how the state tries to destroy the egoists, and the egoists try to destroy the state, and how they're always in antagonism and stuff like that. So yes, that's basically the ego in his own. This book here, Nihilistic Egoist by Patterson, is probably the best book to read about him. The table of contents is really good. The table of contents is Max Stirner, Matrix of the Nihilist, Descent into the Vacuum, The Ego in His Own, Stirner, The Origins of Marxism, Stirner and the Anarchist, Stirner and Nietzsche, Stirner and Existentialism, Total Atheism, The Nihilist, The Egoist, Philosophy as Play.